welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my wrap up for the One Readathon to Rule Them All. So I had 4 books on my TBR, which 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which would have pretty much covered 7 of the challenges. However, I did not get to all 4 of the books. I did read The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman, The Grace Keepers by Christy Logan, and I reread An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. The book I did not get to is White as Snow by Tanith Lee, but I was still able to get The Ring to Mordor, so technically I still won. Anyway, so the first book that I read was The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman, and this is a very short book. This book took me the longest to read. It took me like a week to read. I don't know why. But this is one of my new favorite ever books. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense, but I absolutely love this book. It was beautiful. It was wonderful. This book follows a young boy who is unnamed, and there's something going on at the farm at the end of the lane. I don't want to spoil it too much because it's a really beautiful book. And then, oh my god, that ending just ripped my heart out, and I loved it so much. Yeah, I believe I gave this book 5 stars. Pretty sure I did. If not, it's like 4.5. So, really good book. Oh, and this book covers Moria, which is to read a grimdark fantasy. The next book that I read was The Grace Keepers by Christy Logan. At first, I really didn't like the book, but then it picked up and I really enjoyed it. So, this takes place in a world that, I mean, technically it's like Earth, but like water has pretty much taken over. There's very little land left. So these cities, I guess you could say, kind of exist on the water. They're like floating cities. But this book follows a traveling circus. And as they're going around throughout places, you know, trying to survive. And this follows, I forgot their names, North and Callanish, and there's some freaky things going on with Callanish, and I don't know really how to describe this book, to be honest with you. There's a bear, but this was a really good book. I think I rated this like 3.5, 4 stars. I can't remember. Yeah, it was a really interesting book. I'm not describing this very well. There's a whole lot more to this book than what I said, but it's so just not whimsical. I don't know how to describe this book. Like, things go on, and like how the world works in this book is really interesting. Like, people who live on land, they are cremated. People who live on the water are buried at sea pretty much, and then they have this whole like the Grace Keepers, like they have this whole thing that they do with the bodies and all that. It's hard to explain, but it's a really beautiful book, and it did take me a little while to get into it. So this book covers Helm's Deep, which is to read a standalone, and Rivendell, which is to read a book with LGBTQIA+ representation. I'm also going to use this from Mordor as a series conclusion. So there's my ring. Okay, so the next book that I read is An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson, and this book it covers the Shire, which is to reread a favorite fantasy. Also can cover Rohan, which is to read a book with a female main character. I mean, it could go for Helm's Deep, which is to read a standalone. Point being, it covers a lot of challenges. I absolutely love this book. Still, I love Rook and Isabel, and the world, the Fae world, is just so dark and beautiful. I freaking love it. And then what's her name? I can't remember her name. I believe it was Aster. Aster and especially Foxglove. I've seriously disliked Foxglove a lot, which is, I think, it was how I was supposed to feel about her. And then Aster kind of, like, I didn't really like her character. I still rated it 5 stars. I still don't, like, I don't want this world to end. It was just a beautiful book. It was just, again, I'm very happy that I reread it, and I cannot wait for A Sorcery of Thorns, which is not set in this world, but it's written by Margaret Rogerson, who is very quickly becoming one of my favorite authors. We'll see. We'll see. Alright, that is my the One Readathon to Rule Them All wrap up. I think I did fairly well with the 3 books. I had a whole bunch of fun hosting this readathon. Although I contributed very little to it, I just think some things were going on. So alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.